In a world long separated by dimensions, an ancient prophecy began to unfold. It was said that when the stars aligned just so, a celestial event would occur, unleashing energies that would merge the realms of man, cryptid, and mythical beings. This prophecy was known to only a select few, whispered in the darkest corners, and hidden away in the most sacred of texts. The source of this prophecy could be traced back to the earliest civilizations, with hints of its existence scattered across various mythologies, legends, and folklore, from the Norse tales of Ragnarok to the apocalyptic visions of the biblical revelation. The threads of this prophecy wove through the tapestry of human history, waiting for the day it would be fulfilled. As the fateful day drew near, the Feywild, home to the magical and mischievous fey creatures, began to stir. The beings that inhabited this realm could feel the shifting energies, and they prepared themselves for the inevitable collision of worlds. The Fey were not the only ones aware of the impending convergence. Angels, too, played a part in the grand design, guiding and protecting the natural order of the universe. Deep within the earth, cryptids and mythical beings sensed the approaching event. Some saw it as a harbinger of doom, while others viewed it as an opportunity for change and growth. Tensions rose as factions formed, each with their own vision of what this merging would mean for their kind. The celestial event that would set these changes in motion was an incredibly rare conjunction of planets, stars, and cosmic energies. This alignment was so uncommon that it had not occurred since the dawn of time, and would not happen again for countless millennia. As the celestial bodies moved into position, the very fabric of reality began to tremble, setting the stage for the great merging. As the energies of the universe swirled and danced, the veil between the realms began to thin. A bridge was being built between the world of man and the realms of cryptids and mythical beings, and it was only a matter of time before they would become one. As the great merging unfolded over the course of a year, the world was plunged into chaos, both magical and mundane. Natural disasters ravaged the lands as the barriers between realms dissolved, and cryptids, mythical beings, and humans alike struggled to adapt to their new reality. In the Appalachian Mountains, the Mothman, a creature of eerie prophecy and legend, took to the skies. Its red eyes glowed with an otherworldly light as it soared above the growing storms, its presence a dark omen that signaled the changing times. The Mothman, accustomed to living in the shadows, found itself drawn to the strange new energies that permeated the world, attempting to understand the forces at play. Deep within the rainforests of South America, the chupacabra, a fearsome beast with a thirst for blood, prowled the night. As the merging brought forth torrents of rain and powerful winds, the chupacabra found its hunting grounds expanding. The line between its native realm and the world of humans blurred, and the creature reveled in the chaos, stalking its prey with newfound ferocity. In the Scottish Highlands, the Loch Ness Monster, a fabled creature of immense size and mystery, felt the waters of its home churn and roil. The energies of the great merging stirred the depths, and the creature found itself navigating a world of both magic and matter. The beast, long a subject of human curiosity, now swam in waters infused with the very essence of the Feywild, opening up unexplored possibilities. Among the Fey, the sprites and pixies of the enchanted forests experienced the merging with a mix of wonder and trepidation. As their homes became intertwined with the world of man, they found themselves exposed to new sights, sounds, and sensations. Some delighted in the opportunity to explore, while others lamented the loss of their hidden sanctuaries. As the realms continued to merge, humans, cryptids, and mythical beings alike were forced to confront the fact that their worlds had become irrevocably intertwined. The physical laws of the human world coexisted with the fantastical and magical nature of the cryptid and mythical realms, creating a new world where both the ordinary and the extraordinary held sway. The Great Merging, though tumultuous, was a time of great change and growth for all involved.
Born into the Dine or Navajo tribe, Nahai's journey into the dark world of black magic was deeply rooted in the tribe's legends and folklore. The realm of dark magic he explored was not a generic one, but rather the ancient and secretive practices of the Navajo people themselves. His master was a renowned practitioner of Navajo witchcraft, known as a Yi-Naldlushi, or Skinwalker. The Skinwalkers were said to be witches or shamans who had used their knowledge of the tribe's sacred rituals and ceremonies for evil purposes. By performing unspeakable acts such as killing a close family member, they gained the ability to shapeshift into various animals such as wolves, coyotes, bears, or birds. They were also known to possess supernatural powers such as the ability to control the elements, curse their enemies, and influence the minds of those around them. Nahai's master was well versed in the secret arts of the Skinwalker, having spent a lifetime studying the ancient traditions passed down by his ancestors. He recognized the darkness within Nahai and saw in him a potential to carry on the legacy of the Yi-Naldlushi. Under his tutelage, Nahai learned not only the ways of black magic but also the deeper secrets of Navajo witchcraft, including the rituals required to become a Skinwalker himself. As Nahai's power grew, he became increasingly obsessed with the idea of attaining the ultimate form of the Skinwalker, and he believed that defeating his master would allow him to do so. When the time came for their fateful confrontation, Nahai drew upon the knowledge he had gained from his master, combining the ancient Navajo rituals and dark magic to defeat him in a battle that would forever change the course of his life. In the aftermath of his master's death, Nahai embraced his new identity as a Skinwalker, using the powers he had gained to strike fear into the hearts of both his fellow tribesmen and the countless others who would come to know him as one of the most powerful and feared beings in the world of cryptids. As the centuries passed, Nahai's legend grew and his connection to the ancient Navajo practices only deepened, making him a figure of both awe and terror in the annals of Skinwalker folklore. Before the merging of man and cryptid, Nahai lived a solitary existence, hidden from the prying eyes of humanity. He used his shape-shifting abilities to blend in with the natural world, adopting the form of various animals to hunt and explore the vast wilderness of the American Southwest. Despite his power and cunning, life was not without its challenges for Nahai. As a Skinwalker, Nahai was bound by the laws of his nature. He required sustenance, and his preferred diet was that of human flesh. This dark craving made it difficult for him to remain hidden, as he was forced to venture into the fringes of human civilization to satisfy his hunger. The threat of discovery was ever present, and Nahai had to exercise extreme caution to avoid being hunted by those who had heard the legends of the fearsome Yi-Naldlushi. Moreover, Nahai was not immune to the passage of time. As the years turned to decades and the decades into centuries, he began to feel the weight of his long and wicked existence. The loneliness of his life gnawed at him, and he found himself longing for companionship, a desire that was in direct conflict with his malevolent nature. During one particularly harsh winter, Nahai found himself in a desperate situation. Weakened by hunger and exposure to the elements, he stumbled upon a small Navajo settlement. Though it went against his instincts, Nahai was forced to rely on the kindness of a young woman who took pity on him and offered him shelter. Unaware of his true nature, she tended to him, providing food and warmth until he regained his strength. For a brief moment, Nahai felt a flicker of something he had not experienced in a long time, a sense of connection to another living being. The young woman's kindness stirred something deep within him, a reminder of the humanity that he had once been a part of. But as the days passed, Nahai knew that he could not stay. He had brought enough danger to the settlement already, and the darkness within him could not be suppressed forever. With a heavy heart, Nahai thanked the young woman and slipped back into the shadows. He resumed his life of solitude, continuing to walk the lonely path of a skinwalker. Though the encounter with the young woman left a lasting impression on him, Nahai's true nature remained unchanged, and he knew that he could not escape the darkness that defined him. As Nahai roamed the wilderness, he couldn't help but reflect upon the centuries he had lived as a skinwalker. While his dark abilities granted him an unnaturally extended lifespan, it was not without a price. The rituals that allowed him to prolong his life were fueled by the consumption of human flesh and the absorption of the life force of his victims. The very acts that sustained him also served as a constant reminder of the malevolent nature of his existence. Shapeshifting was one of the most remarkable aspects of being a skinwalker. Nahai reveled in the freedom of taking on different forms, whether it was the stealthy grace of a cougar or the soaring majesty of an eagle. The sensation of transforming was a strange mixture of exhilaration and pain as his bones reshaped and his muscles reformed. The process was both physically and mentally demanding, but the rewards were often worth the cost. Yet even with the power to assume various shapes, Nahai found that each form came with its own set of challenges. When he took the form of an animal, he found himself burdened by their primal instincts and desires, sometimes struggling to maintain his human consciousness amidst the powerful urges of the creature he had become. Despite the dark nature of his abilities, there were some aspects that Nahai found fascinating. His heightened senses, for example, allowed him to perceive the world in ways that no human could ever experience. He could hear the faintest whispers of the wind and detect the most elusive of scents. These abilities proved to be invaluable in his survival, both as a hunter and as a fugitive from those who sought to bring him to justice. However, the life of a skinwalker was not without its downsides. The very powers that allowed Nahai to blend into the shadows and slip through the fingers of those who hunted him also served as a barrier between him and the world of humanity. His existence was one of isolation and loneliness, unable to form lasting connections with others due to the darkness that defined him. As Nahai continued his solitary journey through the wilderness, he found himself reflecting on both the wonders and the horrors of his life as a skinwalker. He understood that the abilities that sustained him and granted him such power also condemned him to a life of darkness and solitude. As the great merging unfolded before Nahai's eyes, he couldn't help but feel a mixture of curiosity and unease. He stood atop a hill overlooking the chaos. His dark eyes narrowed as he observed the humans and cryptids struggling to find their place in the new world. The once separate realms were now intertwined, and the full implications of this change were yet to be seen. He watched as fear and confusion spread among both cryptids and humans, each species trying to adapt to the strange new reality they found themselves in. So, the time of change has come. Nahai muttered to himself, his voice cold and calculating. This world is no longer what it once was, and I must adapt to survive. He knew that the balance of power had shifted, and he would need to be cautious and cunning to maintain his status as a feared and respected figure among the cryptid community. He could sense the tension between the malevolent cryptids and the humans who sought to imprison them. There were whispers of alliances forming amongst the darker cryptid species, and though Nahai wasn't one to actively lead, he was aware that many looked up to him as a sort of figurehead due to his deadly abilities and history as a skinwalker. Some sought his guidance, while others simply wanted to be associated with his fearsome reputation. Nahai knew he would need to choose his allies wisely, as not all malevolent creatures shared the same goals or natures. As he pondered the future, a fleeting thought entered his mind, a whisper he had heard about a being of immense power, Cain. It was said that this creature had faced the military head-on and survived, something Nahai knew was beyond his capabilities. The more he heard about Cain, the more curious he became, wondering if the legends were true, and if this ancient being truly existed. Could it be true? Is there someone even more powerful than me out there? Nahai wondered. His curiosity piqued. He considered the possibility of seeking out Cain, perhaps learning from him or even joining forces. But the idea also carried risks, as aligning with such a powerful figure could make him a target. In the chaotic days following the Great Merging, many cryptids and mythical creatures found themselves thrust into unfamiliar territory, their homes and hunting grounds disrupted by the sudden collision of worlds. One such creature was the monstrous Gorgon, a powerful and fearsome being from Greek mythology. With snakes for hair and a gaze that could turn a man to stone, the Gorgon was not to be trifled with. Its arrival sent ripples of fear throughout the cryptid community, and it wasn't long before Nahai was confronted by the terrifying creature. The Gorgon's movements were swift and brutal, its snake-like hair hissing and striking at Nahai as he dodged and weaved, avoiding the deadly gaze that could turn him to stone. Despite his cunning and quick reflexes, Nahai found himself physically outmatched by the Gorgon's strength and ferocity. With each passing moment, Nahai's frustration grew. He had never encountered an opponent so relentless and powerful, and it was clear he would need to rely on more than brute force to overcome the Gorgon. As they clashed, Nahai observed the creature's movements, studying its strengths and weaknesses, searching for an opening that would allow him to turn the tide of the battle. As the Gorgon lunged forward, its massive tail whipping through the air, Nahai seized his opportunity. He feigned a stumble, appearing to lose his footing just as the Gorgon's tail came crashing down. In that split second, Nahai rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the crushing blow. The Gorgon, believing it had triumphed, allowed itself a momentary lapse in focus, reveling in its apparent victory. That was the opening Nahai had been waiting for. With a swift and precise motion, he summoned a bolt of dark energy, directing it straight at the Gorgon's head. The creature's snake hair hissed and writhed in pain as the energy struck, momentarily disorienting the Gorgon and forcing it to close its eyes. Nahai wasted no time, leaping onto the Gorgon's back and wrapping his arms around its neck, using every ounce of his strength to choke the life from the creature. The Gorgon thrashed and roared, desperately trying to shake Nahai off, but he clung on with a death grip, his determination unwavering. The battle raged on, neither side willing to give an inch, both Nahai and the Gorgon pushing themselves to their absolute limits in their struggle for dominance. As the ferocious combat continued, it became clear that this encounter would not end easily. Nahai, though cunning and skilled, was beginning to feel the toll of his sustained battle against the Gorgon. However, he refused to back down, determined to prove himself as the superior being in this new era of man and cryptid. The outcome of this epic confrontation remained uncertain, with both Nahai and the Gorgon fighting fiercely to claim victory. Stay tuned for part 2. I won't keep you waiting for this one. Just make sure to like, comment, and keep an eye out for your local Skinwalker.